Well, I got interrupted, and so it's been a little bit of time between when I was talking before. But I felt like I had to finish that story. There was a point, even though I ramble, and maybe tell a story way too long and detailed. But there was a point, so I've still got to finish that. Oh, and I keep moving this thing. I can't. Since I've never done this before, to try and find like the right distance and where to sit it, and then to find what to sit it on. So anyways, maybe this way will work the best. I don't know. But so back to my story that I was trying to finish. So Lucy was, I didn't know anything about the breed or anything. It was my ex. While I was doing a festival, he was walking around, met these people who had just had a litter and was talking to them, and it was a dog he always wanted, blah, blah, blah. And so that's how I met this breeder, and went over there. We picked Lucy, and they said it was a small litter. It was only 3 dogs and everything. And, I didn't know that much about it. Thought, well, some dogs have big litters, some have small. They probably just, it's different all the time. And so I didn't think anything of it. And so then, we went through the whole thing of, I ended up having Lucy, and she ended up dying in my arms. The vet, when I went in the morning, I was just so out of it, and I went and talked to them. They came and got her. They took her. They did an autopsy. They cremated her. They sent me a whole really nice package of keepsake stuff for her. She's sitting right over there right now. And so when they gave me this whole thing and they did the autopsy, I had to go in and talk to them, and they went over all the results, and they were like, there's a bunch of weird stuff, but nothing that should have killed her. This makes no sense whatsoever. And they couldn't figure it out. There's just really weird things. I can't remember them all exactly to say now, but it was just weird things, but it shouldn't have been a death sentence. So, anyways, then when she ended up dying, and I got super depressed. Oh my gosh, I was so depressed. And it was so much about dealing with my own self. I wish I wouldn't have yelled at her. Oh my gosh, if I would have known she was gonna die, I wouldn't have gone to the shop. I would have just stayed here with her, If I would have known, I wouldn't have got the surgery. Just, oh my gosh, it was horrible. I was so distraught. I was so, and that was one of the first times too that I got energy message back from a dead animal. I've had interactions before with other dead beings, but they were all what I would have known as human. So when she died, I was distraught. It was this whole weird timing in my life and everything. And I was having a dark night, and I was at home. It was a bad winter, and I was trapped in my house. Oh, it was bad. It was like 8 months, and nobody could come see. It was just rough. It was like quarantine. And so I was so depressed. I was suicidal. It was just a super hard time in my life. So I went to the doctor, and she put me on the antidepressants, and she came up with the idea, why don't you talk to the breeder? Maybe you can get one of Stella or one of Lucy's sisters, or sibling or something. I was like, oh my gosh, what a great idea. So I called the breeder and got a hold of her, and it just so happened that Lucy's mother was pregnant with her last litter, but it was a different dad, so it would be like a half sibling or something. It was some kind of thing like that to Lucy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the universe is just all aligning. So we went, and the babies were born. And when they were born, my mom went, the girl was like, come over and see him, come over and see him. You can see yours, blah, 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 pick yours, whatever. Because I was supposed to be first female pick because of my tragedy, I guess. So I went over, my mom and I went over there. She came and picked me up, took me, and we went over. And we saw the puppies. And while the breeder was talking, she suddenly just somehow, I don't know if she had forgotten, she was talking like she was on drugs anyways. So I don't know, but she said that Lucy was actually 12 puppies in the litter, that 9 of them had died, and they all had been in the womb together for, she had no idea how long, that the 3 were in there with these dead puppies. My mom and I just looked at each other like, what the fuck? So we left, and my mom was doing the cat clinic. She talked to the vet, because it just so happened that the vet who did Lucy's surgery was one of those kinds of vets who donates her time and would go do the cat clinic. And so my mom had met her several times. So she asked her, and she said, definitely, that would have been it. That would have made the sense that didn't make sense. That Lucy had a lot of problems with some organs or something, and some disease and bacteria in her. And if the breeder would have been honest, I could have done more labs and stuff. I had no idea. I just, who would have ever thought of that? So that was one thing about, you have no idea. So then to go further with this, so, we had gone over to see these puppies, and I had the one picked, and I guess she was just having all sorts of people come over to see these and bringing their own dogs. And a dog came with kettle cough, gave all these tiny babies kettle cough, and she had to go put him in the ICU. So then she asked me for my money, my down on my dog, or the, whatever it was, it was a huge amount of money that she wanted, because she had to have him in ICU in order to save these dogs. So I gave her my money, and a couple days later the puppies died. And there was one female left, and she was giving it, even though I was supposed to be the first, it was already promised to someone else. The whole thing was so weird and so shady. And then she but she just happened to have a friend who had their dog was pregnant, and that litter was going to be coming, and they're beautiful parents, and I'm sure they'll be a great dog and stuff. You can check them out online and everything. So I went and did that, and she talked to her and said about the tragedy, like, my dog had died and the puppy I picked died. And so, she was like, sure, she can pick first of the females. And so then they were born, and they had 3 females, and I got to pick. And she would send me videos and pictures and stuff. And once I had gotten her, when I had to go get her, it was at Christmas time. It was a horrible winter, because this is up, and it was Spokane to Montana, and you had to go over a few passes. It was Christmas. It was really bad weather. And this one day, the day I was supposed to pick her up, all of a sudden it was just beautiful out. The roads were dry, and we had a great drive, and we got over, and we got her, and we brought her back. And started my love affair with that little girl. Oh my God, she was so cute. Her ears were so long, and they would hang down. And it would, like, when she would get a drink of water, it would be in the water. And the vet said she's going to have to grow into those ears, which she did. But oh my gosh, that was cute. She was so cute. My other dogs, nobody wanted to play with her. They all just shunned her. It took a couple months before Winston would start playing with her. They would all just sit and stare at her, and she would get so frustrated. And she had the big giant crate that I had gotten Lucy, and I fixed it up like a little apartment, and had all her little stuff in there, and her little bed. It was really cute, and had it all, a thing over it so she could go in there. And she would go in there, like, it was her little pouty space, and she would go in there. Gosh, she was so cute. But so it became, I don't remember if this woman, this breeder, just contacted me out of the blue. Well, first, when I was going to go, I had to get the money back that I had down on the other dog. And she kept, oh, well, over here, okay, this and that. And I was like, man, I'm not going to get this money back. And it kept being all of this, just, not today, okay, tomorrow, we'll come here. Oh, no, I got to fly, one of those deals. So I was just bracing myself like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to come up with all that money. And she ended up giving it to me the day that I was driving out to go get Stella. She gave it to me that morning. And I really think the only reason she even did was she had like a moment of compassion for what I was going through, to not, kick me while I was down and steal all my dog money too. Because also the Humane Society, they felt so bad that they also were paying for the dog. So, I was just so fortunate she gave me the money back. And I think it was because about a year before that, one of her dogs had died and she had gone through it. So it was more fresh to her. So whatever was going on in her personal life, if it was drugs or whatever, that she was able to find some little spark in her heart to have compassion and get me my money so I could get the dog. Because then, so somehow this new breeder, Stella's breeder, had contacted me, and she was a breeder with these English Mastiffs, but this was it. This was their last litter, because they had moved into French Bulldogs. Because French Bulldogs, well, they're smaller, easier to handle than breeding English Mastiffs. They're huge. And, but they bring a big amount of money. I mean, some of these people will pay so much money for a certain color of a French Bulldog. I mean, they're cute little things. At the dog park, whenever I see them, they're so full of attitude. They're so fat. They're cutest thing, but they are attitude dogs. But anyways, they were switching over to just do those, and they were like really into it, like sending dogs to other countries and stuff. Like they were really into the whole thing. So I don't really remember all the stuff that went down, but somehow the Lucy's breeder got all of the puppies from this girl, got the parents, was supposed to be doing this big sale thing or something, and disappeared with this woman's dog. So this woman, thinking that I knew this other breeder on a higher level, since the breeder had introduced me to the other breeder, she thought I had more of a relationship. I didn't know this girl. And so she started contacting me. She had contacted the police. She started asking me to, and plus she's in Montana and I'm in town with this other breeder. So she was asking me, if I had driven past this place, if it was even still there. And it was this whole thing because it ended up that the one breeder had stolen $25,000 worth of products. It was whatever. I don't know what classes felonies are, but it was a pretty high felony from what I understood. But they couldn't find the people. They were on the run, and these dogs, like all of Stella's siblings and parents, were just given to, who even knows? And my whole point about that story was just the shadiness of breeders. You've really got to, if you want to get a dog that is a certain breed, which now I'm so in love with English Mastiffs that I just want that breed. The personality, it just fits my personality the best. And but man, you got to deal with some shady people, and you got to just really be aware. And that was the point of that story. But I had another story too that I just wanted to talk about. When I got Stella, at the place in my life with, I was like empty nest. My kids had all moved off. Didn't have a husband. And, she came in where it was like a lot of loss, a lot of emptiness, a lot of redefining myself. And she filled the hole like that my kids left when they moved out, and she became like this surrogate daughter for me. And it's like and I've heard this by so many English Mastiff owners. They're just like really like, and I don't know if it's the size or what, but they're like real people. And it's the soulful look in their eyes too, the way they look at you and the way they just think. You can watch them think. They're like these little wise, the ones I've had anyways. They just have this certain, like you can connect to them. And so like she filled this hole that was left by my kids and by the loss of Lucy. And she became like my little kid. And then when I moved out here and away from all my family and stuff, she just became my 100% companion. Like she's with me through everything, whatever stuff I go through, you know, she's the one who's here with me. So I feel like I have a bond. And it reminds me of that movie, A Boy and His Dog. And when I had seen that and you know, the telepathy and stuff that they develop, I didn't really understand it. And I've had a lot of pets and I never developed that kind of like closeness with them. And I don't know if it's the breed. I don't know if it's the time in your life that you get them. I don't know what all this stuff is. But to me, the whole thing, how you can build this relationship with this other creature. It's not the same species as you, but you can build this understanding, compassionate relationship with them. Like you have an understanding, and I don't know, it's weird. And I think it's significant for how we need to really take on the world. You know, we need to have compassion and understanding that everything that's alive has a gift of life, and we need to respect it. And energy is energy in whatever forms and whatever we have to go through to become different entities. I'm not sure. I kind of can see in my own head how it works, but we just have to learn so much about just being, treating each other with respect. And having integrity in ourselves, just because inside ourselves we want to feel good. And having integrity is what feels good. Being a lying, skeezy, scheming person all the time, always scheming behind someone's back, that doesn't feel good. It's got to make you feel like a rotten person. And those are the people, like, as soon as you are in an argument with them, it's like, oh, you're saying I'm a piece of shit? Is that what you're saying? I'm a piece? It's like, that's coming from inside you. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying you just screwed me over by doing this, and I don't like it. And you are freaking out on yourself. It's like, deal with the actual problem. Figure out who you want to be. And having integrity and giving love feels better to the soul. It makes you feel bigger and whole and happy. And that's what I think we're going to get a lot more focused on, those kind of feelings and treating each other better because it feels good. And all of this division and all of this manufactured hate and recognition of separation and stuff like that has all been manufactured in this controlled reality. And when we get to make our own choices, we're going to make better choices. You know, but there's going to be the whole part of having to figure out who you are in this process, because everything that you think you are has all been fake. So anyways, that's enough of that.